Paul. Yes, yes, yes. This ratification of the various laws in the Constitution, yes. Confirmation of an act already performed, such as congressional ratification of a treaty between nations made by the president with a foreign country. Oh, also when an agreement or contract has been made by a minor is ratified by him when he reaches maturity. Oh. To ratify, confirm, republish, or redeclare, to approve, to confirm, to reconfirm. A legal expression denoting absolute ratification. Now, when you ratify these treaties and conventions of the United Nations and other nations, and you say, well, what's this? Oh, the rate of exchange, the rate at which money from one country can be exchanged for money of another country. The rates frequently fluctuate day to day. Oh, now, I know there's what's known as the ratification of the United States Constitution. But you ratified all these treaty obligations, these agreements, and these conventions, and I'm wanting to have my wife prosecuted for a Class B felony kidnapping. Because you didn't give me notice. Ouch. You abducted my sons. You violated the Hague Convention. You had me arrested for crimes I didn't commit. Pooch. And you refused to enforce the laws of the United States. And because we were married under the United Nations, you're obstructing me from divorcing her. Oh! Now, when you're thinking about ratifying the constitutions of other nations, yes, the ratifying of international treaties, the international agreements, yes. Could you get me the actual forex exchanges, the rate of exchange of every currency of the world and every trader of all of those currencies for the last 20 years? You know, a lot of the employees that work in the United Nations, they work in other nations. Yes, they do. And I know they're tall, attractive women, quite possibly full-breasted, and they might want to volunteer, but I've had some problems with those that gianted themselves that thought, well, we don't have to enforce the actual laws of this state, any state, or the United States, and we don't have to enforce the ratification of the state constitutions. In fact, we don't have to enforce the Constitution of this great nation. We can allow for petitioners to abduct and kidnap children without having to enforce the law. Now, when you go through the actual traders, yes, it's similar to commodities. They have what's known as the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Yes. Just give me the actual IP addresses and email addresses, and then when you look through the actual positions in every currency of the world for the last 20 years, are there any employees that happen to be politicians of any nations? Any employees? Do you spend currency in other nations when you're helping those refugees? You give them a few shekels, do you there? Poo-poo. I'd like to know the actual assets of the United Nations in every currency of the world. Yes. That every employee of the United Nations that has knowledge that the United States of America allows for the kidnapping of children and the abducting of children because of their refusal to enforce the actual laws of this nation. Now, let's say I found out that you do have, the Canadian dollar is different than the American dollar. Oh, the euro, good for you. I want to know the actual amount of all of the futures that you do own, and then the actual amount of other currencies that you bought or sold with the anticipate. Were you going to go on vacation today? Is that what you were going to do? Now, I know when I can sue you in the United Nations for refusing to enforce the kidnapping laws of the state of Washington, I'm thinking I can sue you in every nation of the world that has a treaty obligation for the enforcement of kidnapping laws, also known as the PKPA. Now, I know, okay? I know. You seem to think that you could keep all these different currencies in an actual account or in cash money. You've got euros, you've got when, you've got want, you've got what? How? I'm thinking it could be a multi-billion-dollar day today. So get me. I know.